Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
Welcome to Girls Talk Rock, where the musician's creativity finds its voice. And here are your hosts, Tracy Smith and Beth Venus.
We just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'm Tracy Smith.
I'm Beth Venus.
And we are Girls Talk Rock.
Welcome.
Oh my God, I got to say, that beginning right there, I've said it before, that's my husband, awesome bass player on that. The theme song for Girls Talk Rock.
Girls Talk Rock theme song.
Also, Paul, our producer, that's his guitar work.
Merry Christmas, Paul.
And I just want to say that because today our show is all about bass players.
Oh my gosh, you
right?
have to say it low.
Oh,
because
bass players.
Yeah, because they're cool.
Yeah, because we're cool like that.
So we've been talking about it all year. Enter Talk Radio has so many great programs on right now. And we all have to agree. Paul, can you agree with me here on this one? We're a little percussion heavy with the drummers. They've had their say this year.
Yeah, they've dominated.
They have dominated. Yeah. And we both felt so strongly that we needed to have a deep and wonderful and awesome conversation with and for bass.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
yay!
This is the bass show.
All right. So we want to introduce.
We do. We have two wonderful regional players here with us. We have people we know very well in many ways.
Yes.
And first, I'd like to introduce Lee Smith, who is here with Exit 6. But you've been with a lot of different groups, and we want to discuss that. So we want to see your comings and goings. And our other guest tonight, who I just adore as well, is Rikki Sterling.
Hello.
Hello. Get in that mic. We want to hear your sexy voice.
Yes.
Oh, hello.
Gotta get there. That's the bass voice.
Now, both these gentlemen are here tonight to talk about bass. I don't want any bass players talking about, we didn't have like 50 people here to talk about every kind of bass playing. But these two gentlemen here have a lot to share about the kind of bands they've been in, what's worked, what hasn't, what they're doing now. But more importantly, our first question of the night, why the bass? Why? Why the bass?
Out of every instrument out there, why?
Because it's the coolest. That's why. Cool. Being a bass player is the coolest.
It is.
It's the foundation of everything. The low end, the bottom line. Nothing can be built without the bass line there. And it's just the most grooviest. Get your body moving. Has the frequencies that just roll through your bones, and you can feel the bass.
It does.
It is omnipresent.
And I do have to say that I think that the bass player in the band is usually the coolest and the hottest.
It's true.
Yeah, and it's like the one that never gets the chicks. But I mean, so they say.
I don't know. I've seen.
We got to work on that. Yeah.
But having a really strong bass player, anybody who's been playing, and I know a large part of our audience are musicians, and one of the biggest problems is finding a strong bass player. And
totally.
People look high and low, and they'll say, I got someone, and you're like, yeah, it's nice. But what do you guys think the common denominator is for you that puts you in demand? Because you're both in demand players regionally and nationally and playing all over. I know you're just in from Las Vegas, Rikki. What do you think is the one thing that has sold you the most for playing, from being a wanted man?
Do you mean like what makes the bass player the hard position to fill, that there are not as many bass players?
Yeah, that people aren't as happy, but when they stumble, what's made you work so often? Because you guys are both working a lot. So,
well, I think being a bass player, like it's a different thing. Anyone can play guitar or piano, and I don't mean that like anyone can. However. Bass is a feeling, and you have to know the feeling in your bones. It's just something natural that you play. You can't just pick up a bass guitar and play notes. Like, you actually have to feel it and
set
understand.
The groove.
Yeah, and you have
to have that groove.
You have to have rhythm in your loins,
right. And not just do A D A G. You have to do the improvisation, but know when you can do it and when you shouldn't do it, and
when it's too much.
When to play just solid and straight and low key, and when just like anything else, you got to know when you're playing strong, and then when you need to back off and just play it because the guy's doing a lead, or just like any other instrument, but especially with bass because you play a lot with the drums. And you're the low end and you're the rhythm of the whole band.
Yeah, it's feel. There's so much feel in it that it's more than just notes. It's more than just the music that's there. There's a feel to it. You know?
So looking back, when you first decided to be a bass player, what would the advice you would give to yourself all those years back that you look at now that has brought you a success as a working musician? Like, what is the quality that you would like try to tell yourself? What's the one thing all beginning bass players do too long incorrectly?
Say that question again. Like, what is the one thing that beginning bass players can do?
That they do for too long incorrectly. That they keep doing it and they wonder, why does this not sound great? And why am I not working? Is it...
A lot of it's just trying to, don't play to be popular. Don't play to get into the music. Listen to people like John Entwistle, Chris Squire, Geddy Lee, Mars Cowling. I can go on and on and on. Listen to people that are really good bass players and that set a groove and listen to them. And the first time I played and wanted to play, I went to a high school and they had little things going on in each room. Well, one of the rooms there was a band playing. And I went in and sat on the floor. And that bass he had a nice big amp, and it just rumbled through me. And I had to be only, 8 years old or something. And from that point on, I wanted to play bass. And that's all there was to it. And that's what I did. So, but.
Yeah, that makes me think of the story of how I started playing bass. And it was in junior high, we had a band. And I was the rhythm guitar player of this band. And we all had our thing. And we were practicing for this, and the bass player, his name was Doug, and Doug came to rehearsal one day, and he said, "Guys, man, my mom's put me out for soccer practice. I can't do this anymore."
Right.
Oh my gosh!
And so my lead guitar player, Jason Powell, handed me the bass, and he goes, "Hey, Rikki, go home, learn all the parts, and come home.
Do this."
Come back the next day, learn all the bass parts. And I said, okay. And so I went home and I picked up this bass for the first time, just being a rhythm guitar player, played the bass, figured out all the parts, came back the next day for rehearsal, and everyone was just, their mouths dropped. They went, "Well, you're the bass player, dude."
Well,
Like,
now, so
you got it.
Very cool.
And so it just it just fit and it felt good and it was immediate. The first time I picked it up, I'm like, well, this is what I have to do.
Right. So you said rhythm guitar. Now, do you think rhythm guitar is similar or more similar to bass playing than any other instrument, or no? Because you have to hold the rhythm?
I think musically it is. Like if you analyze the music, like
Right.
you're playing the same roots, you're playing the notes, you're playing the same chords, that kind of stuff. But the technique and the way you play guitar is so completely a different world.
It is.
playing
Totally.
bass.
Bass
That,
is just, it's one of a kind.
It is one of a kind. And
mean,
so it's, I hate to say anything negative about, striving bass players, but if you're having trouble, pick another instrument, because the bass player is like, when you pick up a bass, you will figure out that's made for you.
Right.
And
So
that's
either
what
you got
happened
it or
for
you
me.
don't.
Like you
All right.
will, like it was an instantaneous thing. Like when I picked up the bass guitar, I was like, wow, this is what it is. And actually I was taking guitar lessons from the time, from a great guitarist, Colgan Bryan, and he has a bunch of actual published works that he actually tabbed out from people, and he was teaching me guitar. And when I came in and told him the story, I said, "Hey, I got to play bass now. I'm the bass player of our junior high band." He said, "Okay," and he taught me a couple of techniques. And when I came back the next time for my second bass lesson, he goes, "Man, I think you found your niche here, because you figured out
a natural.
You're a natural in this. Like this is your niche." You
All right.
got
So
it.
so back in the day, now we got to go. What was your first bass? Lee, go ahead.
I had a Welson hollow body, not a Wilson, a Welson, Welson. And it was a hollow body, didn't have an amp, but I had a bass. And I played the heck out of that thing. And when I was at that age, I had friends that had a band, and they were an adult band, and they played in Indianapolis. Well, they just happened to be produced by Todd Rundgren. And I used to go over there and play, and I'm like 9 years old playing bass. And they said, when I was your age, I was out,
On the playground.
on the playground and
Right.
playing with my friends and everything else. And I said, and I just played bass. I wanted to play so bad, and so I just learned like everybody. You have to learn the rudiments. Main thing you have to have is you have to have rhythm and timing to be a really good rhythm and timing to be a bass player. I mean, that's really, I mean, any kind of musician, you need that, but especially for a bass player.
Absolutely.
Because when that drummer starts out with a beat and you're jumping in with the bass and you're holding the groove, you got to have timing and you got to have that feel for that groove to come out and for people to feel it. If the people can feel it, everybody else can bring the guitars in, the vocals, the keyboards. And
what about you, Rikki? What was your first bass?
Well, my first bass was the bass that was handed to me by that bass player. It was a Hamer Striker, and if anyone knows what Hamer Strikers are, the bass is it's a little shorter than an actual guitar is, and so it's just this tiny little bass.
Oh my gosh.
And
you're like, this is a bass?
Yeah, I'm like, this is a bass, but I had 4 strings instead of 6, so you play it with your fingers. I can do that. And
awesome.
And it was funny. And then I went on, and then the first one I ever purchased was a Mako. It's Mako was the brand.
I know exactly what it is, too.
Yeah, it's tough. And I had this amp that was a Gorilla amp.
Oh, my gosh.
And Gorilla. And you think about it now, and you're like, Gorilla? That was a brand?
It was a brand. It's not glue.
It was a brand. It's not glue. It was a Gorilla amp. I had this little, had a switch on it that said funk bass.
Oh my gosh.
It was just a treble boost switch. And I was like, funk bass? Well, let's hit that and see what that does.
See what
Probably
happens.
got me into playing funk. Maybe if I would have had a different amp, it would have gone that direction.
Which really brings us to signature styles.
Right.
You guys are talking about funk and different sounds, and you being a bass player is really the kind of the core of all that. Everybody kind of follows, or is supposed to, in a weird way. But how do you develop your own sound as a player? The more you play, you guys you're more vetted. You're playing signature sounds, but you also want to have your own funk. How do you put that in there and follow the music? What's the key to that? Because that's like something I think a lot of other musicians
because funk is
can't
probably
plug
the
into.
hardest, I think, genre to play on a bass anyway.
All I know is a lot of personal rehearsal. I know that for sure.
A lot of hours, yeah.
A lot of hours. I mean, I used to play. I mean, that's what a lot of people don't realize. And Rikki and Beth, you realize this too, and Paul, that people only see you on stage. They don't see, that's like 2 hours, let's say. They don't see the 50 hours it took to rehearse that music and to learn those songs. And that's not including the personal rehearsal.
Personal time that
because you'll rehearse with a band, but then all of a sudden when you're at home, I pick up my bass almost every night, even nowadays, and play my bass, even if it's just running through something. I just picked up the bass in here when I came to the studio and figured out something on a song where I'm going to be playing Friday night.
Excellent.
And it was just a little thing, but it makes a difference. Every little thing makes a difference.
Yeah,
and
it does.
So,
what do you think, Rikki?
Yeah, I think personal style, I mean, that's a lot of improvisation. It's just, of course, you must have a working knowledge of scales and theory and the actual notes and key you are playing in. But other than that, it's just a mismatch of making those up with a bunch of different rhythms and having fun with it.
exactly. And it's stuff you've picked up from when you've learned music. If you learned a Rush song or you learned a Pat Travers song or whoever you play, they might do a little riff in there and you like that riff. You might use part of it in the song and you don't even realize it, but you pick up the pull off and hammer on and things like that. It's just all stuff it's learned.
That's true, and I absolutely agree with that. And I remember someone told me one time, it was a buddy of mine that at the time I was a freshman in high school. I remember this, and he was a senior, and he was a guitar player and older than me. And I kind of looked up to him, and he said, I tore all the posters off my wall. I didn't want to listen to anyone else because I don't want anyone else to have influence over the way I play, influence over my own music. And I always thought that was strange, and now I think that's the opposite way that I think you should look at it. You should listen to everybody, take in everything, learn every phrase everyone plays from all of your favorite bass players, and then having all of that knowledge, you will inadvertently and subconsciously be using a little bit of what you take from everybody into how you play, and it will form your own personality, the own way you play, and it will create how you sound from everybody that you listen to, and you shouldn't shut it off and not listen to people. You should learn everything that comes in front of you.
Yeah, and we should talk about inspirations at this point then, because when you're young and you're just starting to figure out what your style is as far as bass playing, you're listening to your inspirations that are going to inspire you all the way throughout life. So, Lee, who is your inspirations growing up? Who were you listening to?
Oh, I could say Geddy Lee of Rush and Mars Calling of Pat Travers Band, Billy Sheehan, which is a big influence on me just because of his personal story. I mean, everybody thought that he knows theory and he knows all this stuff. He learned everything he did in the back room.
He's a blue-collar
man who just worked his tail off to get his style. And his fingers are like a half inch or an inch longer than most bass players, which makes it really – he can play – when he plays, he uses 3 or 4 fingers on his plucking hand. And that's hard because most bass players only use 2 fingers or a pick. I play with my fingers. I can use a pick, but I don't. But most players only use 2 fingers. Some of them only use 1. He uses 3. He can use up to 4 fingers playing, and that makes your speed, your ability, and just everything that much faster. Plus, he's just a super phenomenal bass player. Plays with Steve Vai and Mr. Big and things like that. But yeah, I mean, John Entwistle, Chris Squire. So,
what about you, Rikki?
Well, let's see. I'd say that Bobby Dahl had a big influence on my playing, the bass player of Poison.
Cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, just fun and energetic and all that stuff, and that's what kind of attracted me to the whole thing. But in reality, I think the bass player that really did it was Stu Hamm, and Stu Hamm was Joe Satriani's bass player.
Very good.
And I believe that also Billy Sheehan had a huge influence on me as well. But Stu Hamm put out some of his solo records that I would recommend to any bass player, even now, to pick up a Stu Hamm bass record. I would just sit there and I would listen to it nonstop, side to side, and I tried to learn everything that he did. And he did a solo that was the Peanut song. You know, the Peanuts. The piano Christmas Peanut song. He did it on bass and played.
That's the one Schroeder plays?
That's the one Schroeder plays, correct. And he played it with his left hand did the bass hand, and the top hand he played the treble part like a piano on his bass, and that just mesmerized me. And so I did not stop, and for 2 years I practiced that until I could finally get it right and play that solo. And
it's awesome.
Yeah, and he's just a phenomenal. If anyone was a lead bass player, Stu Hamm is
definitely phenomenal. And people don't realize when you try and learn a song like that, might sound silly. Try and do it sometime and see what it's like. When you get done, the sense of accomplishment of learning something like that might be silly to some people, but the quality and the sound of it is just wow.
True, and that's it's so insane because when you practice something for 2 years,
right,
and then you finally do it, it's amazing.
All right, so yeah,
we're going for a commercial break. We've been talking to Lee Smith and Rikki Sterling, bass players here in San Diego that tour with Exit 6 and Groove Kitty, among other bands.
All right, totally. So when we come back, we're going to talk about their equipment, stages, and tours. We'll be right back.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Tracy Smith
and Beth Venus
of Girls Talk Rock right here on the Intertalk Radio Network.
Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, Beth, they know that, but we want you to know that the industry pro's choice is Silver Tiger Production.
SDP is a full-service production agency offering sound, lighting, installations, talent buying, staffing, backline equipment rental, and sales. Kapow!
It's everything in the entertainment performance industry. It's all that. SilverTigerProduction.com.
Welcome to Girls Talk Rock, where the musician's creativity finds its voice. And here are your hosts, Tracy Smith and Beth Venus.
That's me.
And we're back.
Oh my gosh, we're back.
I'm Tracy Smith.
I'm Beth Venus.
And we are Girls Talk Rock.
Welcome. We're in segment 2. We're having a Bassman's Day. And if you're a bass woman, it's a bass woman's day. But we have in-house with us, of course, Rikki Sterling and Lee Smith, both bass extraordinaires, working bass players here in San Diego. Their home base right now is San Diego. They travel all over with their core band. I know for you, Lee, is Exit 6. And for you, of course, Rikki, is Groove Kitty.
Now it is.
Yeah, but you guys have been in a lot of working bands, and you've played a lot of cover music, a lot of tribute music, a lot of original music. And we wanted to go into this segment just asking, bass players, are in demand anyway, but what really triggered with you when you realized that you were really working more and you were in demand more? Do you remember turning that corner where you're like, oh, they want, I'm in demand now. I'm going to start having my choice of bands. And was it a certain skill set that you had reached, or was it a frame of mind that put you in that position?
I think it's both a skill set, and I think it's a lot of just being what they want. If you're doing original music, being original and having that groove and being able to play your instrument well and knowing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the same way with if it's a cover tune, go do your homework. Go home and learn that material. Just like Rikki was saying earlier, he went back that night, learned all the material, came back and played it, and they were like, wow.
You're a bass man.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just being on it and knowing your instrument really well and learning the material.
It pays off.
Yeah.
You think that's the
skill set.
Common thing?
I mean, every time I see Rikki, he's solid. He's there. I mean, it's just, it's great. I mean, and a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are just, they're not that much into their instrument. Okay, well, I'll go do something else, but not us.
Dial it in, be there.
We're bass players.
Yeah, I think there's a different level that you hit being a bass player, because bass, if you analyze a bass, instead of a guitar, you have 4 strings instead of 6. You don't necessarily play chords or play a lot of the notes at the same time. You play one note at one time, which a lot of people says, oh, that's limited. It's easier than guitar. It's not the same. And it will bore some people, and they will not get to the next level where they find out what bass really is. And once you are at that level, then you really understand what the bass is. And when you do that, you are instantly better at the bass. You are better on your instrument. You get to know your instrument. And to make it that far, I believe a lot of people do not do. Right. And a lot of people that say, oh, I play the bass. Well, they don't do that. And they don't get that level where they understand that now you kind of become one with it. And when you do it, you excel in a way that I don't know, in a way you that other instrumentalists that would not dedicate all their time to the bass would do. And I think I say this because I am a guitar player as well. And on guitar, I don't play it the same way I do a bass. And a bass is you feel it. And that's why I guess bass players always talk about feel, and it's hard to describe feel. What is feel?
But as
you have to feel it.
Feeling you guys in the pocket is definitely a moment.
Well, yeah, rhythm is, and talk about that, because you have to have the drummer. The drummer has to be on board with you. You have to have a decent drummer that can hold time, right?
Right.
For you to be in your zone almost, right? Is that...
Yeah, absolutely. Bass players and drummers, you have to form a relationship with each other. And once you do, you become tight. You become in the pocket. That's where all those phrases are from. Oh, tight rhythm section, or in the pocket rhythm section. And you guys, and it really, it just forms as one and becomes solid. And that's how you know.
Now, you mentioned single note versus a couple of different notes. So I know that Lee, his nickname is Rifter. And the reason his name is Rifter is because he's always played the crazy riffs. So he's more like a lead bass player than he would be a guitar player. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that, Ralph or Lee.
It's just basically just playing. learning your instrument and becoming really well with it. Like he was saying, to become a good bass player, if you want to reach the next level, listen to the Stu Hams, listen to the Billy Sheehans, people that are just at their top level of their game, and these people are so good, and you get inspired by listening to these people. If you really love the bass, listen to people that are really good, and if you feel like you need to go to the next level and you're not there, listen to people that inspire you and learn that. And like I said, I just do bar chords and some things like that and do riffs because that's what I grew up learning and grew up doing. Myself, I used to be because a lot of it's personal rehearsal.
But I'm saying the bass isn't limited to single notes. I mean, you can go off a little bit, and you can be more like a lead bass player.
Well, it really depends on the music you're playing. If you're doing original, if you're playing, there's a difference in playing by yourself in rehearsal, by yourself alone, and playing in a club. There's different things.
Yeah, and you bring that up, and I'm so glad you did, because I had the pleasure of seeing you with Exit 6 play at the Coach House with Which One's Pink.
That was great.
Just a couple of weeks ago, and what a great show, what a great night that was. But the notion that you play the same on a venue stage that you would on a club stage, as you would in a bar stage, as you do rehearsal. I mean, everybody says you rehearse the same, but you guys had some great energy that night. And
totally.
What does that do for you when you're in a full house? You got 700 or 800 people.
You feed off that energy.
You guys really did. Tell us, did you get to elevate a little bit?
You feed off the energy. It's just like anything else. I mean, when the people are enjoying what you're doing and you're enjoying it and you're looking at your other musicians and everybody's clicking, and you feed off the energy too. Plus, you play different when you're playing live in front of people versus when you're playing in rehearsal versus when you're playing by yourself in your room learning a song. Because you'll throw in a bunch of stuff because there's nobody else around. That's when you learn the chops.
Yeah, both of you guys, your chops. Rikki, you guys, just 3 nights ago over at House of Blues, San Diego. Great night.
Yep.
Both of you have that entertainment quality going on too.
Entertainers.
And, I think a lot of musicians out there, there's a lot of great musicians out there, but getting to the point where you're part of the entertainment package as well. Tell me about crossing that road and playing on bigger stages, on bigger platforms, and stepping up and looking like you're having fun, even though you are, but looking like you're having fun too.
Right. It's funny. Well, for me, I've just, that's been what I've always wanted forever. It's always been a dream for me to be on stage, and I've always wanted to be that to be my career. And I believe it is your job as an entertainer to not only perform the music correctly, but be something to look at. No one wants to go up there and see like 5 statues.
They pay to see you.
Something they pay to see you. So, put it on. And other than that, it's just I'm having the most time in my life when I'm up there. So I'm running around as much as I can.
You are.
And just going nuts. It's the best.
Exactly. I mean, anybody can stand there and just play the bass or an instrument. You can just play standard. Billy Sheehan says, I could have done it like this, but that's just doing it. I'm doing it like this with reversing my hands and doing this, and because it's a show. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can do it like this, but when I do it like this, it looks cooler.
Oh, it's compelling. Yeah. It's so compelling.
Absolutely.
And other bass players and other musicians, wow, what did he just do? And that's really cool.
What did he do? That's what you want to do. What did that guy do?
Well, the first time you guys did that, the first time you felt yourself have that ease to leave just getting through the songs and just playing, and to actually go, I am going to exude performance, and I'm going to play, and I'm going to slide across the floor, and I'm going to do, make faces and have fun and bring them in. Is there do you feel like that's like another bridge you crossed, because it takes effort and
you have to be comfortable.
Confidence.
It takes self-confidence.
It takes energy.
It takes knowing your instrument. It takes knowing once you know the material and you're good with it. A lot of it is just being able to go up and put on a show and have fun, and realize that there's people out there, and you need to make the appearance, and you need to do some exciting things for them.
True. Plus, I kind of look at objects on a stage as like a dare. If I see a big speaker cabinet in front of me, I'm like, okay, how high is that? Can I get up on there?
Can I get up on that?
Can I jump off that? If I jump off that, where am I going to land? Can I do it in the middle of the stage? Wait, how secure is his drum set? Can I jump on his drum set right now?
That's the reason I went wireless.
I want exactly. That is the reason I went wireless. I want to climb on everything I can.
I want to move around.
I want to be the highest point at anybody. I want to look down and see how high I can make that jump.
Now that you talked about wireless, we got to go into what type of equipment that you guys have. So let's get into that. So, Lee, what do you use on stage?
Right now, I'm just using a little Fender 100-watt amp, 15-inch speaker, but I'm using my Billy Sheehan Attitude bass. One of the new Attitude Limited
the
3s.
best.
It's phenomenal.
Best bass.
It's gorgeous.
But I got a Fender Precision. I got a couple Precisions, and I got other things. But I really like the Attitude right now. But yeah, I have just a lot of. I mean, in the old days, I'm saying old days, 15, 20 years ago, everybody had these gigantic amps and 8 speakers, and you don't need that
better
nowadays.
To jump off of.
Yeah,
they're better to jump off, and they're really cool. But nowadays, they either mic or they run you direct on your equipment.
Yeah.
So, I played the House of Blues 4 different times on the main stage, and when I played there, I had a little 350-watt Fender cabinet with 2 tins in it.
Ready to rumble,
and it was a Rumble 350. And they mic'd me direct. I mean, just ran me direct, and I played through this little amp, and it sounded great. And
and you went home with these.
Pardon?
You went home with these. You just
I went home with these.
22 pounds.
Right?
Exactly. So, but.
What about you, Rikki? What do you love to play with?
Oh, well, let's see. Well, I would love to play with his Yamaha Attitude bass sometime. That
might happen too.
My main bass over the last couple of years was an Ernie Ball Music Man Sterling bass.
Awesome.
And I came into it because of my name. I was like, oh, Sterling.
Right?
Rikki Sterling. I need to play a Sterling.
There you go.
But it also happens to be one of the best basses
it's
out
awesome.
there. It's kind of like the Music Man Stingray, but in a smaller body.
Yep.
And then I recently discovered a Kramer. Kramer came out with the Disciple and the D-Bass series, which has a really, really small body and a huge long neck, which is just really awesome. And I found them because Lexi Fox of Steel Panther plays them. And I decided to try them, and it just plays so beautifully that I had to get one. So I got one and modified it a little, put the hip shot on the neck, on the headstock, so it can drop down to D, and it was great. And also with equipment, I was in New Orleans recently, and I was just I saw something that absolutely enthralled me, and it's all the places that everyone goes to play live out there. It's pretty tight quarters. The French Quarter is, this tight section of town, and the blocks are very, very small. And so I see these venues where people are coming on their bicycles, and on the back of their bicycles, they have a trailer with their equipment in it.
So cool.
Little combo amp or their guitar bass on a trailer on their bicycle. Or people are just walking, with their gig bag. I'm like, oh my God, like everything they're bringing. You don't have to have a pickup truck and a band trailer anymore. It's just, here's your equipment. So personal. So
it is.
So I went out and I sought out, and the Mesa Boogie Subway,
oh my gosh,
the Subway amp series are just
Mesa Boogie's
so
awesome.
Amazing, and it fits in your gig bag. And this entire amp that used to be like this huge thing that was 20 to 50 pounds that you carried, now just fits in your gig bag, and it's the best tone around.
That is great.
So that's my
Mesa Boogie
choice.
Kicks, and they're hard to find.
Oh
you can't get them in any.
It's 2 pounds.
Yep. And you can't get Mesa Boogie everywhere. You either get it out of a magazine or you go to like a Guitar Center or something. Regular places don't carry Mesa Boogie. I mean,
it's a really big deal. And I know a lot of people, when they go to shows, are looking at the equipment that their favorite artists are using. You mentioned looking at Lexi from Steel Panther. Musicians are noticing these things. And I think, like you said, Rikki, the notion of bigger is better is not always the case. Like, looking for the best tone in the package that suits you, especially if you're touring or you're traveling.
Oh yeah,
bigger is not always better.
Well, the technology didn't exist back then, and now it exists. Like you can get 800 watts out of a package that can actually fit in your backpack, which is amazing.
That is phenomenal.
It is. That's the best thing to ever come around.
Bass
players phenomenally like
Don't
for
be
a
looking
time
into
have the
that.
heaviest amps.
Well, equipment is a really big deal, and when you're a bass player, I know guitarists are always looking for the eternal tone. The tone and the pedals and the knobs. What do you guys think with your bass? We're talking about equipment a little bit right now. Do you guys feel like you're on that constant venture that looking for the ultimate tone, or is that something that it's really just about how
or have you found it?
Or have you found it? Yeah.
I get commented on my tone. I have for years, more than anything, and my playing style. But the tone is, everybody says your tone is phenomenal. Your guitar is your tone to me. I mean, you can have pedals and change your tone back and forth, but a lot of it's with your playing fingers and your guitar that, your bass itself. Yeah. It has a tone knob on it. You can go to bass, you can go to more treble, you can go in between, but a lot of it's just the sound of your, he's got Music Man and, and things like that. A lot of it is just your guitar itself and your playing style and how you play yourself and the sound you get out of your guitar. I think that's the great tone. If you got a good guitar that sounds great, you're going to have some great tone out of it.
It's a fine line now because we are going so much into electronic music and not just buttons and knobs that help you find tone,
or like
but
DJs.
Just our DJ style tones. And as bass players, you guys are really desired for your live performance and for kicking that in. How do you guys feel about that coming into the scene? These big thumpy uncha. Like we just went to Crossed and it was like all electronic using that bass line. Do you think it's the same thing or do you think live music will prevail, the bass line?
I think electronic music will always be around. It will always be around now because it has emerged as a huge driving force. But at the same time, there are waves going with live music, and electronic music had a big boom, and now live music is coming back. Right, because people are realizing that they have that hole, and I think the integration of them both is going to be the best thing in the world.
Yeah, right.
The integration of all electronic music and live music coming in is going to be awesome. And I wanted to say something because that's funny you mentioned about the pursuit of tone. Guitar players are always looking for that. I found that after 20 years of bass playing, I finally, now that is such a huge quest for me. That perfect tone. And it starts like Lee said, from the guitar itself. And I found that within basses, oftentimes you can pick up a bass off a shelf or on the rack of Guitar Center, and how it sounds unamplified is a good indication of how it is going to sound amplified. And you can put 5 basses down in front of you and hit every single one of them the same note. And the one that sounds the best as it is sitting on the floor is most likely going to be the one that's going to sound the best amplified and plugged in no matter what. And hands down, that is rang true with every single bass I've ever had. And so I'll sit there and I'll go to Guitar Center and play every single bass I can and just bang on it and just pull the strings as hard as I can to get the loudest, most resonant note out of it. And people are going, what are you doing?
I want that one.
And I'm like, no, trust me. I know. And when I hear one that just sounds crazy awesome right off the bat, generally that will sound better amplified than all the others will.
All right, man. We are getting ready to go to this next commercial break. So when we come back, I want to talk about, say, past stories on the road, touring.
And what the biggest challenge is working with a band.
That's right.
How much input do you have?
And what 2017 holds for both of you guys, because I think it's going to be a great year for music.
Stay tuned. We want you guys to know these guys.
Bass player, a band with 2 bass players.
That's right. Dude, I'm hearing it. Uh-oh, it's working it. We're working it out. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Girls are talking rock again.
And people are listening.
Today we're talking bands.
Let's talk promotion. Red Giant promo, graphics, EPKs, video, photos, social media, and brand building using content marketing.
But let's talk studio at CCMA, which is events, rehearsal, tour prep, piano, guitar, voice, rock band, lessons, workshops, and clinics. Yeah!
Both proud sponsors of Girls Talk Rock.
Well, get the lowdown on these services and contact me, Tracy, at girlstalkrock.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Welcome to Girls Talk Rock, where the musician's creativity finds its voice. And here are your hosts, Tracy Smith and Beth Venus.
So funny, so bad.
Someone asked me about his tour.
I got one thing to add first. Once you guys do your
Okay, we are back. I'm Tracy Smith.
I'm Beth Venus.
We are Girls Talk Rock, and we are
Welcome.
here with the most fabulous bass players, local guys, San Diego, but then they do tour and everything else. So that's what we're going to go into the third segment talking about is
Working.
past tours. Lee, I want you to tell everybody about the really fun story in a nutshell. You going on the road as the Grassroots.
Oh, this was real exciting. We went to a music shop in Phoenix, Arizona. This is when I was younger, of course. And there was a post up on the board for 4 white guys. This is no joke.
4 white guys.
Four
4
white
white guys to go on tour.
Oh,
so we asked the
fudge.
guy, and he called. He made a phone call and had us meet with somebody. We had to go to L.A. and meet up with the road manager. From that, we had to go pick up a drummer in Oregon, and they evidently owned the names, the association and the Grassroots, where they were billing it as the new Grassroots. And
New Grassroots.
And
Yeah.
we went on the road as the new Grassroots. We were traveling like 500 miles a day. Half the time we didn't know where we were at. We were playing at colleges. We were playing at bars and all kinds of stuff. But it ended up being pretty crazy because we were just, you'd end up playing. We had a couple really good gigs, no problem there. But then we ended up at the last gig we ended up playing at was pretty scary because we found out that the road manager was going in before we did a show and got half the money up front and would ship it back off, would send it back off to LA and then of course we were playing, but then he would get the rest of the money after the show. Well, thought we were being billed as the new Grassroots. We weren't. We were being billed as the Grassroots. And we're not the Grassroots. We are a lot younger guys, and we weren't. I mean, we were doing, Temptation Eyes and, all the Grassroots tones. And, learning songs on the road was pretty tough.
What did you do?
Well, the last show we played, it was, and this is no joke, I think it was in Montana or something. Everybody in the club, that as far as managers and people that ran the club, were all related. They were all family. They were all like 6'3", 6'6", something like. They were just huge, and they sold out the place, and people were just freaking because we were the Grassroots.
Holy, what did you? But then, did you get tomatoes? Did you get?
We didn't get tomatoes. We made friends really, really quick with the manager of the club and said, "Hey, we had nothing to do with this." And with the road manager and the way he booked it and everything, and to keep us from getting getting thumped on. So
Getting thumped on, and that's like a really big deal. Working with talent buyers, house buyers, agents, managers, navigating that whole world is not easy. And for you guys as bass players, do you feel like you've had a lot of word and agency in the bands you've worked in, or do you think that's like one of the key struggles to have a really solid working team? Working in the music industry is the actual.
I mean, that's really the only bad experience
Yeah.
I've had as far as that goes, because we were young.
Yeah.
We went on the road because we went to pick up a drummer before we left, and he says, "No way, I'm not going to do that. That sounds too crazy." So you live and learn when you're young. Sometimes you make a mistake.
You could have gotten beaten.
Oh yeah, and
You
left
could have
off the side of the road. I mean, it was that bad. We thought we were just going to. Then we made friends really quick. But other than that, you need a good team, and I think Rikki will go along with this. When you're doing shows, somebody needs to kind of take the lead on that, and kind of either have a manager or someone within the band that books and that's good at it or something. it really depends on whether you're local or you're trying to do stuff out of town. I don't know. What do you think, Rikki?
Yeah, 100% on that right there about a team and a manager. Number one, band 101. All bands out there, listen, you're not going anywhere if you don't have a manager. Get a manager right away.
Or someone in the band that acts as the manager and runs it all.
I actually almost disagree with that 100%.
It's so hard to have somebody in the band do it.
Yeah, if it is someone in the band, then it just turns into all kinds of politics going on there. But there are so many things in the industry that are not known, and when you have someone in an industry like a manager to alert you to those things, even how booking works, even how tours work, how politics and that kind of stuff works, and how music works and looks to the other side. Like it takes someone else, and to seek that advice out there from somebody else is the most wise thing to do, is to seek that advice from somebody else that is actually not one of your own band.
And not learning it with you.
And not learning it with you.
Yeah.
Seek the advice of a wiser.
Yep. Yeah. And then they can give you options.
And then they can give you options, correct.
Right. And they can give you have some options because they can see the different sides, and they say, we got this, this, and this. Get together as a group and you can make a decision.
Well, let's ask what you guys think the difference between playing and being an original bass player in original bands versus cover and tribute.
Getting paid?
No.
It's a joke. I'm just I was making a funny.
That's making another funny.
Okay, so you have to have an original band before you can become a tribute or do covers of that band, of their original music. So, no, but I'm saying as far as from a bass player's standpoint, from a musician's standpoint, what do you think the difference is between playing original music and playing covers?
A lot of people like you better when you play covers.
Yep. Because it's a song they recognize.
Yeah, original is you gotta if original is what you're doing, then you better have that thing and you take it somewhere else and you go with it all the way.
Yep.
Go big.
If you want the money, then
you have to do some covers. I mean, when I was younger, we played. I mean, in the older days, I keep saying older days. When I was younger, when you played a club, there was no opening act. You played 4 hours. You played 9 to 1 whether it was Friday and Saturday night or whatever gig you had set up. Yeah. You played 4 hours. I mean, you played 4 sets. I mean, and we did all covers. And you played stuff that everybody knew. They heard it on the radio and everything else. If you play original music, you're going to be playing select clubs. They're probably only going to pay you a little bit. And unless you're just really popular in the community and you got a great following. If you prove yourself and you got a great following, it's a little bit different because the club, you're seeked out then they want you to play because you happen to be a local favorite or whatever.
Who they're calling. I think, I was watching just a really novel, wonderful little sleeper movie the other day called Sing Street. It's on Netflix. Yeah, and y'all tune in and check it out. But it was about some English boys in a British school in the 80s, and they're putting together a group, and the brother says to them, "Oh, you can't do any covers, that's not real music," of course in a lovely British accent, and he says, "Well, we're just learning our instruments, we gotta learn how to play." So covers are also really great to learn how to play, and then put your heart into. But there's nothing saying you can't do both and find your way along. We have a great guest that was on earlier this year, Mr. Elliott from Hall & Oates, and he's a keyboardist and rhythm guitarist sometimes for Hall & Oates, and he plays. Obviously, to him, those are all covers, playing with Hall & Oates. But now he's on a solo career as well. So, a shout out to him because we just think he's a super talent. And we want to make sure our listeners know, man, we hope you're doing both if that's where your heart is.
Well, most of your paying your dues and learning your chops, you learn from playing cover music because you have to start somewhere, and you're not going to start out by just playing an original if you don't really know how to play. So you learn how to play other people's music, and from that you learn. That's where you learn all your chops. That's where you learn all paying your dues and start building your style.
Yeah, but don't you find that bass players don't write a whole lot of their music? I mean, there's rare every once in a while, but don't you find it? Don't you find it when you're in a band?
I can't say that
that the guitar player comes in with the majority of the melody, and then you just lay down your bass to it, or what? So
let's see, who do we point out for all these?
Geddy Lee,
Nikki Sixx.
No, I'm saying there's a few, but.
Almost every Motley Crue song ever written was entirely Nikki Sixx, the bass player. Rachel Bolan of Skid Row wrote all of them.
But no, you are correct in the sense that the guitar player does a lot of times the at least the vision, or at least what most people will think is a guitar player writes a lot of the parts acoustic. Kansas, Kerry Livgren wrote their first 2 albums, or basically wrote the whole first 2 albums.
Right.
He wrote them on acoustic at his house. He'd come in and it was just like a plethora of songs. Generally, that's how it's done. A lot of times that's how it's done, but it can be either, though. I mean, I've known drummers that write songs, but that's at least the thought.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to make sure that in this third segment, we're also talking about what you guys are doing now. Because for us, for Girls Talk Rock listeners and Enter Talk listeners, talking to some bass players is kind of exciting. And maybe getting in the network, they might want to reach out to you. They might want to jam with you. They might want to hire you. Or just go to some shows and check out what some established vetted players sound like on the circuit. So what are some of the contacts we can give to our listeners to reach out to you as said bassman? Lee, how does someone find you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, and it's Lee Smith at yahoo.com. You can get me there. And like I said, I play in 2 or 3 different bands. We're playing Exit 6. We're playing this Friday night at 710 Beach Club.
Nice.
And I play country every so many months. A country guy comes in from Florida, and we do some of that. I play in a band called Monster on Sunday, but it's a pay to play. Yeah. So when they want us to do a gig, we go over and rehearse, and they pay me to play. And
very nice.
So.
Ricky, where can we contact you? Where can our listeners go to?
Let's see. Well, my name is Rikki Sterling, and that's spelled with an Rikki, just like Rikki Tikki Tavi, that famous manga.
Awesome.
So Rikki Sterling at yahoo.com is RIKKISTERLANG at yahoo.com. Other than that, my band I am playing with is Groove Kitty right now, and we are performing this New Year's Eve at the Canyon Club in Agora Hills with the world's most popular U2 tribute band, Hollywood U2.
That's exciting.
And also in March, we are opening up for the very famous Corey Feldman.
Holy
at
Mary.
the Coach
Right?
House.
Coach House.
Which is going to
Shout
be
out.
one of the most entertaining shows of the year, and I cannot wait for that.
It's already 90% sold out.
Already 90% sold out, and we are not even in 2017 yet. So yeah, I'm sure you can find us at Groove Kitty on Facebook or my own email. And I'm sure you can also go even to the Coach House website, and they'll have a link to find Groove Kitty.
They do.
And to find out where we are playing. And I bet they have Exit 6 somewhere on there as well.
Yep.
They have
You got to go see Groove Kitty. They're awesome. It's a really fun show, too.
Awesome.
Let's see what else I can jump off of on stage.
Yeah, I mean, jump
or how
in
far I
and
can slide
go in and
across
do
that
it.
stage.
It's such an exciting time right now because I think there are more opportunities for bands to stay together longer and have a true project, a real band that works together and stays together and has a real purpose.
And
so
real
that's
quick,
happening more.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Just real quick, that is the hardest thing with playing music. Is you'll get a band together, you'll learn a bunch of material, and the guitar player will move off to back east or something, and you have to find another guitar player. If you're in a band, become friends, do things together as a band.
It's all about the team.
It's all about a team, and get your music together. Take what it takes, do what it takes to get in that jam, that rehearsal room, and learn your music. And personal rehearsal is a must.
Get to it.
More personal rehearsal than you do band rehearsal. Because I tell you what, you have to be a great musician yourself first before you can have a great band.
Those are great words there, Lee Smith.
I know, right? I feel like singing hallelujah. That was like a
fantastic
nice
words
there.
and hit the nail on the head.
Can we get our quattros in?
We can get our quattros in.
Oh, I'm so excited because I've got my quattro. So every guest that comes on to Girls Talk Rock
must answer the
quattro questions. And they're a little unique for everybody. We want you to answer them on the fly. Quickly, whatever comes across your brain. And
my first question is, if you're not a bass, what instrument are you?
Flutophone.
Ricky's a flutophone.
Flutophone.
Keyboard bass.
All right. Well, what drummer of all time would you choose to be your drummer if you could choose?
Rikki Rocket.
Neil Peart.
Oh,
there you go.
Look at that. They're so fast.
They are.
They're the best guests we've ever had for Quattro.
If you could tour with any band, past, present, or even future, that's going to be a huge hit, who are you going to tour with as their bass player?
Past band, Pat Travers.
Poison all the way, man.
Right on, brother.
Come on.
Poison.
I've been in so many tribute bands in my life, but
I just want to put a shout out there too that Rikki Sterling is in town. He is here, moved from Las Vegas to continue his career out here. And those of you who may be interested in doing a Poison tribute, this is your man.
No, totally.
Isn't that video that you did of your house?
On top of this.
Is that on?
I have videos of me doing Bobby Doll all over.
Oh my gosh, this man will jump off anything. He'll wear tight hose. He'll wear stretchy
He'll
material.
let it all hang out, literally.
He's so confident in his manhood.
That's right.
He'll wear anything.
That's right.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
What's your fourth question?
My fourth question is, you are stuck with one genre of music for the whole year. What is it?
Disco.
Rock.
Spoken like a true rock star.
Jordan spoken like a true rock star. Here at Girls Talk Rock, we have so many great events coming up. As you guys all know, we are partners with Silver Tiger Production.
That's right.
With Rodney Elliott over there. And we are always looking for the next best events regionally as well as Southern California, all over the country. Got a lot going on. We have been so lucky to have Lee Smith in the house with us today and Rikki Sterling.
Yep.
Again, you can find Lee Smith at www.leesmith.com. Can we get you?
At yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com. And Rikki Sterling at yahoo.com. You guys are like a lot in common. That's
no doubt.
Kind of cool. Also, Lee is playing with Exit 6, which we really want you guys to go down this Friday night. Is it Friday?
Friday night, 30th.
Go to 710 Beach Club. And, of course, we want you all just racing up to Agora Hills this New Year's Eve. And I think Lee, you guys are to go see Groove Kitty with Hollywood U2 at the Canyon, which is just a beautiful venue.
And I just want to give a shout out, too. Don't forget that we're going to be at NAMM this year, and we're going to have a lot to do at NAMM this year. So Girls Talk Rock and Enter Talk Radio are doing all their, well, not all their programming from there, but pretty much we're going live from morning to night. I'm not sure yet, but we're going to be doing a lot of
stuff.
And we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with the She Rocks Awards also.
She Rocks Awards.
Because
Get your
we're
tickets
media.
now
We're
for
media.
She Rocks.
Totally.
If you're going to NAMM, or if you're not going to NAMM and you're just going that one night, you may want to do this like not tomorrow morning, like right now while you still can.
Right now.
And get those tickets for the She Rocks Awards. I also know that Groove Kitty will all be at NAMM, and if you find a Groove Kitty and you see a Groove Kitty, they may just have some Groove Kitty prizes on.
And you might want to pet them.
You might want to pet that Groove Kitty. Grab it by the tail. Grab that Groove Kitty. I know that they're bringing T-shirts and caps and picks and all kinds of special.
All right, well,
Groove
we're down to
Kitty
the
gear.
last 12 seconds of this show, so we just want to say thank you so much to Lee Smith and Rikki Sterling.
Bassmen.
Thank you so much
The
for having me.
Thank you very
amazing,
much.
entertaining bassmen of San Diego.
You bet.
We're giving a
you
shout
rock,
out
buddy.
really
You
quick.
rock, Lee.
We're giving a quick
Incredible
shout out
bassist.
to Silver Tiger. We're giving a quick shout out to Red Giant Promo,
We
to
are.
Studio at CCMA,
Ninja
and
Picks.
of course, there we go, Ninja Picks, and of course, Enter Talk Radio for having Girls Talk Rock live programming on their network.
Happy birthday, Florentino.
Happy birthday!
We love you. We'll see you next week. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah.
Boom! The pictographs next week. Hey, it's Tracy Smith
And Beth Venus
of Girls Talk Rock right here on the Enter Talk Radio Network.
every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, Beth, they know that, but we want you to know that the industry pro's choice is Silver Tiger Production.
STP is a full-service production agency offering sound, lighting, installations, talent buying, staffing, backline equipment rental, and sales. Kapow!
It's everything in the entertainment performance industry. It's all at
It's all that.
silvertigerproduction.com.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.